So we're going to finish up the notes, same notes as yesterday. I'm going to start with example 8. So again, same process. What we're doing here is substitution. So I'm going to take my linear equation, the first one, and I'm going to solve it for y. So I'm going to take 2x minus y equals negative 3. I'm going to subtract 2x. Negative y equals negative 2x minus 3. Divide everything by negative 1. And y equals 2x plus 3. This is what I'm going to substitute in here for this y. However, notice my y is squared. So I need to FOIL it when I plug it in. So let me just go ahead and 2x squared, rewrite everything. And in here, I'm going to put the 2x plus 3, square it, and set it equal to 0. So remember, what we're doing here is squaring this. So remember, if it's, you either memorize the pattern or write it down 2 times and FOIL it. Don't just square the 2x and square the 3. You're going to miss out on that middle term. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 9. Once you add the middle terms, this is that y squared. Now also remember, you've got a subtraction sign that you're going to distribute. So let me just rewrite everything. Going to put in here what I just found. And then it equals 0. I need to now distribute this subtraction sign to all 3 terms here. So it ends up being 2x squared plus 4x minus 4x squared minus 12x minus 9 equals 0. Now what I need to do is combine my like terms. I can combine the 2x squared and the negative 4x squared. And then this gives me negative 2x squared. And then combine the 4x and the negative 12. Gives me negative 8x. And then nothing to combine with the 9. Now, just to make this easier, I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. So then it'll become 2x squared plus 8x plus 9 equals 0. Because I wanted to see if I can factor this. However, this is not factorable. So I have to do quadratic formula. So a equals 2, b equals 8, c equals 9. Remember quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2 times a. So let's plug it in. Negative 8 plus or minus 8 squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. X equals negative 8 plus or minus 64 minus 72. Negative 8 plus or minus negative 8 over 2. And I can break down the negative 8. It'll become negative 8 plus or minus 2i radical 2 over 2. I can simplify this. And the final answer here is x equals negative 4 plus or minus I radical 2 over 2 over, actually just like that. Actually, it's over 4. Oh, hold on. This should be a 4 here. So then this becomes a 4, so this becomes a 2. Okay, so now on WebAssign, as soon as you got this, you could have stopped because WebAssign only wants real solutions. So for WebAssign, as soon as you get a negative discriminant or a negative number under the radical, you're going to stop and you just say no solution. However, If this were an SAT question, then you would have had to plug in this X value, and because maybe the SAT would say list all solutions, and then you would have had to find the imaginary order pairs. But for our class, for the WebAssign, when it's an imaginary solution on WebAssign, you're putting no solution. So this one is no solution. So example number 9. This one's actually set up better to do elimination. So again, when you're getting these systems, look at the problem. If you can already see that just by combining the two equations, something cancels out, then do elimination. However, sometimes doing substitution works out better. Again, just analyze the problem that you're given. So I'm going to do elimination on this one. I'm just going to add the two equations. Notice the y squareds cancel. And now I'm left with 3x squared equals 12. Divide by 3. X squared equals 4. Now you can either move it over and set it equal to 0 and factor it. I'm just going to use the square root method. Just remember when you do this, you get plus and minus 2. Now, we need to find the y value. To find the y value that goes with each of these x's, we need to plug it into one of the equations. I'm going to plug it into the first one. It looks like it has less work. So if I plug in x equals 2, and then I also have to plug in negative 2, x squared plus y squared equals 4. This is the equation I'm plugging it into for both. 2 squared is 4. Subtract the 4. Y squared equals 0. Square root it, it's just 0. So my first order pair is 2, 0. Then for the next one, same thing. As soon as I square the negative 2, it turns positive. And then when I move it, I get y squared equals 0. Same thing. Square root it. So my other solution where these two intersect is going to be the order pair positive 2, 0 and negative 2, 0. So what I'm going to do here on number 10 is I'm going to multiply my second equation by negative 1. So once I do that, I get negative x squared plus xy minus y squared equals negative 6. I'm now going to add that to the first equation. Notice both the x squareds and the y squareds cancel. And then I'm left with 4xy equals 16. Divide by 4, and x times y equals 4. I'm going to solve this for y by dividing by x, and I get y equals 4 over x. I'm now going to do substitution, and I'm going to plug this in for y into my the first equation. To the second equation. Looks less work. Again, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to plug this in to this equation. So I get x squared minus xy plus y squared equals 6. So I'm going to substitute what y equals. So I'm taking out y here and here, and I'm putting what y equals, which is 4 over x. So minus x, and then times 4 over x plus 4 over x squared equals 6. Now, when I go to multiply over here, these are going to cancel. So now I'm left with x minus 4 plus 16 over x squared equals 6. I'm going to clear the fraction. I'm going to multiply everything by x squared. So I'm going to distribute it to each. So this will become, there should have been an x squared here. So when I distribute this, I get x to the 4th minus 4x squared plus 16, because it cancels this one, equals 6x squared. I need to move the 6x squared over, set it equal to 0. X to the 4th minus 10x squared plus 16 equals 0. I now need to see if I can factor this, which I can. Factors of 16 that give me negative 10 are going to be negative 8 and negative 2. So x squared minus 8, x squared minus 2. Set each factor equal to 0. Add the 8. X squared equals 8. Add the 2. X squared equals 2. I need to square root both. So x is equal to, and I need to break down the square root of 8. It'll become 2 root 2. So plus or minus 2 square root 2. And then this one is just the square root of 2. Now I need to find all the y's that are associated with these 4 x's. I'm going to actually plug it in to just the y equals 4 over x. It's going to be a lot simpler. And I'm going to do that on both. So for this one, y equals 4 over 2 root 2 positive, and y equals 4 over 2 root 2 negative. This is going to simplify. So then now I have y equals 2 over root 2. I need to rationalize 2 root 2 over 2, which just simplifies to the square root of 2. So my first order pair, 2 root 2, comma root 2. Then when I plug it in with negative, same thing's going to happen. This will cancel. So then I'm now left with y equals negative 2 over root 2. Rationalize negative 2 root 2 over 2. Again, it'll simplify. So then this ends up being just negative root 2. So this order pair, negative 2 root 2 that went in, gives a negative root 2 as the y value. So far I got 2 order pairs from that one. And now I'm going to get 2 more when I plug in this value of x. So y equals 4 over positive root 2. And y equals 4 over negative root 2. Again, I got to rationalize this. 4 root 2 over 2 simplifies to 2 root 2. Same thing here when I rationalize. It'll simplify. So 4 root 2 over 2 simplifies to negative 2 root 2. And again, these are the y values. So the x values that went in were positive root 2 and negative root 2. So I have 4 solutions here for number 10. Now I'll do number 11. So number 11, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do an elimination here. You could do a substitution, but I think it'll get kind of messy. So let me go ahead and just multiply this one by negative 3. So then I get negative 3x squared minus 3y squared equals negative 15. Once I add these, I get x squared equals negative 4. Again, notice we're getting a negative answer, or negative root, so this becomes x equals plus or minus 2I. So again, for WebAssign, stop here and say no solution. Again, WebAssign is looking for real solutions. But let's say it was SAT and they said find all solutions, and that would include imaginary. So if I take my newly found x value and I plug it back into the linear, or not the linear, the circle, x squared plus y squared equals 5. If I plug it in here, I get 2I squared plus y squared equals 5. I also have to plug in the negative 2I. I'm going to get the same thing either way, but this now turns into a 4I squared. And remember, I squared equaled negative 1, so this is really negative 4. And then rewrite the rest of the equation. And then if I add 4, y squared equals 9, square root it, and y equals plus and minus 3. So we've got different answers here. So we got 2I, comma 3. 2I, comma negative 3 would be 2 of our answers. And now the same thing's going to happen here. When I square this, it becomes 4I squared, which turns into negative 4. Add the 4. I get the same y value. Square root it. Y equals plus and minus 3. So now a negative 2I gives a positive 3 and a negative 3. So again, if it asks for all real solutions, then you would have given these 4. All solutions. If it says all real, there isn't any real ones. They're all imaginary. So just be aware of it for SAT, that when it says all solutions, you would have to list the imaginaries. But for WebAssign, it only wants real, so this has no solution. So let's go ahead and try the last one from the notes, and then we are done. So for number 12, what I'm going to go ahead and do is substitution here. I'm going to solve my x, y equals 2. I'm going to solve it for y. I'm going to divide by x, and y equals 2 over x. This is what I'm going to substitute into the first equation. So let me come down here where I have more room. So my first equation is the 5x squared to y squared equals 6. I'm substituting, I'm taking out the y squared, and I'm going to put in 2 over x. So take out that and put 2 over x and square that equals 6. So now I need to square that, and this becomes 4 over x squared. And then I still have everything else here. I can also multiply this, and this becomes 8 over x squared. I now am going to get rid of the fraction. So I'm going to times everything by x squared. So this becomes 5x to the 4th minus 8 equals 6x squared. I now need to combine and get this set it equal to 0. And I'm going to factor it. So this is actually factorable. I can just do guess and test. So my factors of 5x to the 4th are going to be 5x squared times x squared. And then my factors of 8 are either 1 and 8 or 2 and 4. I'm going to do positive 4 and negative 2. Again, if you're guessing and testing like this, you need to FOIL it and make sure it works, and it does. I need to solve for x, so 5x squared plus 4 equals 0, x squared minus 2 equals 0. Move the 4, 5x squared equals negative 4, divide by 5, x squared equals negative 4/5. Now again, WebAssign, once we try to square root this, it's imaginary. I would get plus and minus 2i over the square root of 5, and then I would need to rationalize. So plus and minus 2i radical 5 over 5 would be the imaginary solution for x. So WebAssign, that would have been no solution for that part, but over here we're going to get an answer, square root it, and x equals plus and minus the square root of 2. So we will get an answer here that is real. So for the real solution, again, I'm going to plug it in to the y equals 2 over x. So if I just put my x in, and again, or I could plug it into the original, it doesn't really matter. So 2 over root 2, and then I also have to plug it in as the negative root 2. Both need to be rationalized. So then this first one is going to give me y equals 2 root 2 over 2. The 2's cancel. This one's a positive root 2. This will give me 2 root 2 over negative 2. Again, it'll cancel. So negative root 2. So the two real solutions are going to be square root 2, and negative square root 2, negative square root 2. These are the real solutions that you would enter in WebAssign. However, if it asks for all, we would have also had to plug in the imaginaries. But because these are imaginaries, we wouldn't do anything there. So that is it for the examples on 9-1. Tomorrow, we're going to just focus on linear, not non-linear examples. We'll be graphing them to find the point of intersection, and then we'll be just doing more elimination examples. So tomorrow will be, for sure, a review of Algebra 1 and your pre-algebra course. These nonlinear ones that are more challenging, this should all be new information for you. So again, you have your 9.1b homework that is due tomorrow.